But moving on, as we start to dive into the Final Four side of things, before we get to the men's recap and then the men's look to the weekend, I did want to shout out the women's Final Four, as we have gotten to the Final Four for them as well. Interesting little scheduling note here. The women were one day ahead, or at least they were running Friday to Monday, their little 4-day regionals. The men obviously go Thursday to Sunday. However, they kind of jumped ahead here going into the Final Four. So the semis will be on Friday, and then the championship will be on Sunday. Unfortunately, I don't believe this podcast will be going live until those semifinal games have passed. So just an interesting little scheduling note I did want to point out. But Texas, the 1 seed, they will be facing off against Dawn Staley's South Carolina. The Lady Cox, they are in a very, very familiar situation. The South Carolina has been a team that, I mean, Dawn Staley, since she started there, I think two years in a row, back to back, they kind of taken over for UConn. Even though UConn is back in the Final Four, they took down USC on the other side of the bracket in the regional final. Despite UConn being a 2 seed, going up against the 1 seed USC in that one, interesting to see UConn 15.5-point favorites. Obviously a big reason there, USC without star Juju Watkins. It would have been interesting to see if Juju was healthy, because I don't think it's as cut and dry that if Juju's healthy, the 1 seed just takes control, because UConn did take down USC last year against Juju, or with Juju, I should say. So, again, not as cut and dry. UConn will be facing off against UCLA, making their first women's Final Four. So I personally, as a USC fan, not a massive fan of UCLA, but I do respect that program. So shout out to the Lady Bruins. We'll see how that goes. But South Carolina, UConn, that would be a very juicy matchup. Just from kind of a casual women's basketball fan. Obviously, those are the two big names, year in and year out. So to kind of see that maybe grudge match, if you will, in the final. But we'll see. I think Texas and UCLA would like to have something to say about that. But